Hi, lovelies! Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. This is Mina'sMagic. I'm Mina, and in terms of this video, let's start with what inspired this video. So this video is inspired by a video that I watched earlier this week. And that was from a channel called The Stitchery, and I'll link her video down below so you can go and check it out if you want to, preferably after you finish watching my video. And what was discussed in that video were her sewing policies. I thought, yeah, I could do that. That's kind of easy, and I have some things that I could add to, kind of personalize the idea and make it my own. And, expand maybe even on some of the things that were mentioned in that other video. So that's what this video is going to be my attempt at. Explaining to you with visual aids my sewing policies. Because I also thought what I would do in this video is a little bit of a celebration, because I have been struggling so hard with everything lately. I thought that this could also be a celebration of me and, hype myself up a little bit, because I've recently been in my closet and realized like 90% of the things in here, okay, maybe not that high, but more than half of the things in this closet are me made. And I've been wearing for multiple years, which I think is really cool. So I thought I would, showcase some of that, as well as talk to you about my sewing policies. So let's get to it. This is in no particular order. All my sewing policies are of equal importance. So the first one that I would like to talk about is that sewing rules aren't set in stone. They're more like guidelines, honestly. There are some things like pressing your seams, ironing fabric before you sew, especially if it's like the kind of wrinkles, washing your fabric before you sew so you get that pre-shrinkage out of the way. That kind of stuff is helpful, and I would highly recommend doing all of them. Now, I will be the first to tell you that I hate ironing. Pressing seams is the worst. It just, and it just adds an extra step. I'm the kind of sewer who kind of hates sewing. When I have an idea, I wish I could just be like, bloop, there it is, it's done. It's all the steps kind of drive me nuts. There's too many. So yeah, cut corners by all means. There are some things though that I would highly recommend. Like I said, pre-washing your fabric. Ironing just makes it easier to cut. If it's not like all bunching, then you've got the fabric that you need. But there are some things like mock-ups. Do you need to make a mock-up? No. Honestly, not really. I would highly recommend making a mock-up if you are using a complicated pattern, or if your garment is complicated enough that it would be less work to make the mock-up first and then the garment, as opposed to making the garment and doing alterations. If it would take more time to alter whatever you've made after you've made it, then definitely do the mock-up. Highly recommend that. It's just less of a headache when you get to the end. If you're using like good fabric, or well, not so much good fabric, but if you've bought like an expensive fabric that you're, making this project that you really want to turn out beautifully, and you can't necessarily afford to buy more, or you've thrifted your fabric so you've got, a set amount that you can use, and you can't necessarily go out and get the same because maybe you don't know where it came from, or it's vintage and it's not being produced anymore. In that case, I would highly recommend a mock-up as well. If you don't have enough fabric that you can potentially waste it, If you make a whoopsie, definitely go for a mock-up. One thing that I will mention though about mock-ups is if you're making a pattern that you think is, like, if it's a simple enough pattern that you think it's going to turn out, or if it's a pattern that's easy enough that you can alter after you've made it, like it's just a simple smock top, for instance, that you can just like take in, or, you know, move the sleeves a little bit or tighten the neckline. If it's something that's simple to do, then I highly recommend making a mock-up out of decent fabric. It doesn't have to be garbage. Go ahead and make a mock-up out of a cute fabric. This was a mock-up. I was trying out this smock pattern for the first time when I was making my Hobbit costume. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, the pattern, because it wasn't a commercial pattern, so I didn't trust it. We'll get to that in a little bit. And in the end, this mock-up ended up being an adorable garment and has been a staple in my summer wardrobe since I made this shirt back in 2020. And anybody who says that you have to have a sewing machine to sew, no. I prefer sewing with a sewing machine. I hate hand sewing. I am not very good at hand sewing, and it takes forever, and I'm accident prone, so I'm always poking myself. So there are, you know, again, I don't technically need a sewing machine to sew, except that I do because I hate hand sewing so much that if I didn't have a machine, I wouldn't sew. But if you don't mind hand sewing, you don't need a sewing machine. You can hand sew. There are lots of tutorials online. You could take a class at your local fabric store. There's lots of places to learn. My second sewing policy is it's okay for garments to look homemade. Absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. In fact, I kind of love that now. I feel like hand making stuff and having it, well, not necessarily intentionally having it look like it's handmade, but not caring that it looks like it's handmade is kind of an act of rebellion. Why are we trying so hard to make our clothes look like we bought them in a store? What's wrong with celebrating the fact that we created something? Sewing can't be mechanized. The act of running a garment through a sewing machine needs to be done by human hands. So all garments, whether made by the at-home sewist or made by someone who was probably unfairly compensated somewhere, it was all made by hand. This skirt, I love this skirt. It's patchwork. It's purple. Oh yeah, that was another thing I wanted to say. So, because this reminded me, a lot of my clothes are made with quilting cotton, which technically you're not supposed to use for clothes. This isn't like garment quality fabric. Technically, you're only supposed to use quilting cotton for quilting and other crafts, and you're supposed to use garment quality fabric for garments. And to flip with that, I say, I quite happily wear quilting cotton all the time. It's cotton. It's breathable. It's comfortable. It's soft. Yeah, so there's another rule that just, it's a guideline. Wear whatever you want. Pick fabrics in colors, in patterns, in styles, in textures, in weight, in feel that you like. That's the important part. Okay, so anyway, about this skirt. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from the outside, the stitching, there's visible stitching. It's not perfectly straight. And inside, the seams are raw, baby, and they are fraying. Sometimes they even fray down below out the good side. So there's absolutely no mistaking that this was handmade. And I don't care. I am proud of that. If people see this and recognize that I made it, that's awesome. Because at least then you know who made the clothes. I know what went into this. I know the headache that went into figuring out where all the patches were going to go and sewing all the patches together and lining everything up and making sure that things didn't move and shrink and goodness only knows what else. I did that. And so many store-bought clothes nowadays have seams that split if you look at them wrong, have strings that haven't been cut, because the people who are making them are so overworked. They have to put, they have to pump out like 50 items in order to make a penny. They don't care about fixing up all the little, they just want to run it through and make that money so they can feed their family. If you can go and pay for a name brand something that's falling apart, you can make something. And even if it's falling apart, you can still wear it and be happy with it because you made it. This skirt I originally made in the spring of 2021, and it's, again, another staple that comes out every spring, summer. Love it. So another point within my sewing policies is like a multi-point, and it all has to do with mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay if you don't fix mistakes. It's okay if you wear something, even if you haven't fixed those mistakes. And it's okay to choose to nerf the thing because it's beyond fixing or you don't care about it anymore, whatever the reason. This crop top, I will start with this. This was just made with scraps. I threw it together, basically, it's another mock-up. I ended up really liking it, obviously, and dyed it and wear it. And I pair it with this skirt and I love it. They look gorgeous together. Now, the thing that you might not immediately notice is the fact that the edges don't line up. On either side. I made a bit of a mistake there. And I don't care. And on top of that, I didn't fix the mistake. And I still wear the mistake. This is a 3-for-1. I made this crop top last summer, so back in 2023. And yeah, it goes gorgeous with the skirt. You can't really tell that the sides aren't even when I wear, because, when I'm moving around, whatever. Unless you're like, and even then you might not notice because I'm going to smack you for getting too close to me. You can still make it work. I love it. It's purple. I don't want to get rid of it because it's cute and it's comfortable and it's a crop top that even when I raise my arms, stays right there. Okay, within this same vein, within this policy, I share my mermaid shorts. I love these, the mermaid scale. And my Loki pants. Now, the reason I share these now is partly because they're within the timeline. I made both the shorts and these pants in 2021, and they're not perfect. The shorts, because I wanted to, and the pants actually, because I wanted to use as much of the fabric as I had available, the shorts, probably longer on me than is necessary. I don't care. They're cute. They're comfortable. I think that they look good on me. That's all that matters. These pants, they're more like capris. You can't see it in the video, but they go down about mid-calf. So probably shorter than they need to be. They might cut me off in a weird place. I don't care. Yeah, again, they're comfortable. They're cute. Loki fabric. I haven't been able to find this anywhere. So yeah, I wear them. And also the pockets kind of suck. I can barely get my hand in the pocket. Same goes with these. The pockets are only just barely usable. I can't get my head around fixing them, so I'm not going to, because it's good enough. And around here, good enough is good enough. I can fit my phone in there and I can still get my phone out. I can put my keys in there, I can still get my keys out. It's not like, pockets are important to me for putting stuff in them, more so than putting my hands in them. I'm not much of a hands in the pockets kind of person. Maybe that's because I've had to live without pockets for so long that I just stopped doing that, and now it's weird. But anyway, yeah, so these pockets are maybe a little bit lower down than they're maybe a little more droopy than they need to be, and they definitely barely fit my hand. Same goes for these pockets. I don't care. I'm not going to fix them. They're good enough. They're comfortable. They're cute. They've been in my summer wardrobe rotation since 2021, and they're going to keep on going until they basically fall off me because I love them that much. Some other things that I'm going to just throw in because they're in the timeline and I'm going to talk about them, but they don't really have anything to do with my policies, so we're just going to put a pin in that for a minute, is my yellow rose smock style top. When I find a pattern I like, I run with it. So after the success of the purple shirt and the chemises kind of things that I made for Hobbit style costumes, I found this pattern at the thrift store and made a shirt. This was back in summer of 2021. It's been in heavy rotation since then, every spring, summer. I've changed up what pants I wear with it a few times, but the shirt stays. Yellow roses are my favorite roses, so I have an affinity for this shirt. I love it. It's not going anywhere. Also, I love the addition of the lace on the hems. I just think that's adorable. Yeah, I love this shirt. Nothing else to say about it. Something else I love that also utilized the smock styling is my Lady and the Tramp dress. I adore this dress. I made this back in the fall of 2021, and it is now one of my most worn dresses. I absolutely adore this, with the little blue bow details at the sleeves and the neck to mimic the lady's collar. It's got patch pockets, because of course it had to have pockets. I wear it very frequently, every summer. Oh. Okay. So within the It's Okay to Make Mistakes policy itself is it's okay to nerf things. It really is. Next thing I have is this beautiful cloud vest. And if you have been around this channel before, then you might already know that this started life as the dreaded Butterick Walkaway dress, which, yeah, that one almost broke me. Tried to make that dress, tried to love that dress. I wore it out a bunch of places. I really tried to love that dress. I couldn't. I could not love that dress. It didn't fit right. It wasn't comfortable, but I loved the fabric. So you know what? I nerfed the dress, I pulled it apart, and turned it into this vest, which I think is absolutely adorable. And it's so comfortable. I love this vest pattern. It's another one of my favorites. Anyway, but yeah, it was perfectly okay to get rid of the dress and turn it into something else. But even more than that, you may notice, again, if you've been around the channel before, this does not look like the dress that I had dyed to go with this vest, because I hate it. Even after pulling it apart and refitting the sleeves and dyeing it, and just, it turns out that the waist of the dress was perfect for the dress, but it was too high under the vest, and it made the skirt flare out weird, and it cut me off in a weird place. It wasn't a good look. And I was going to pull the skirt off and, add fabric to lower the skirt down, but I was just, at that point, I was done. After everything I had done to that dress to make it work, I was done. I did not love it anymore. It wasn't worth the effort. So I put it up on Facebook Marketplace and gave it away. And that's okay. And instead, I made this shirt. So this vest was originally a dress that I made back in 2022, which then got remade into a vest last summer in 2023. And this shirt I made at the beginning of this year. So it's a 2024 make to replace the dress that I gave up on at the beginning of this year. And I don't know if I'm going to love this shirt. It's just a simple smock style. Maybe a little bit long for this look. I don't know yet. I haven't actually worn this outfit. This is probably what I'm going to wear either this weekend or next week when it gets really hot. And if I had decided to yo heave ho something completely, just toss it, yeah, that would suck. I mean, my big motivator for trying to make my own clothes is to try and keep things out of landfill. But at the end of the day, you're only one person. You can only try so hard. And if you try and try and try and try and you still can't get something to work, and it's not salvageable, you can't reuse the fabric for something else, you can't give it away to someone else, you just don't want to look at it anymore, and the garbage is the best place for it, then you know what? The garbage is the best place for it. Your sanity is more important. Yes, it would be awesome to have a planet that many, many, many future generations can live on, but let's be real, the planet's going to be here until the planet's not here, which is probably going to be long after humans. We're gonna screw things up and kill ourselves off, and the planet's going to keep on spinning. So since we have such a short amount of finite time, I mean, do your best to leave a world that, future generations can enjoy, but not at the expense of your own mental health. Oh yes, it's okay to make mistakes. My Eyelet Lace dress. This one was fun. It's the first time I tried using my vest pattern as a bodice. And yeah, it's not perfect, but it's really comfortable and it's super cute. And I think that this dress looks really nice on me. The dye didn't work. I was trying to do like an iced tie-dye kind of thing. Wouldn't take. Threw it in with the yellow when I was dyeing that dress for the vest, and it came out green, and the green looks really pretty on camera, but oh, is it pale in person. It kind of washes me out. So I might try and re-dye it this weekend because I want to wear it very soon for something. Anyway, so yeah, I made this back in the spring of 2022. I've worn it a few times and re-dyed it early this year. It's cute, but I don't love it, so I might try and dye it again. I really hope that works because this is a super cute dress, and it's nice and light and breezy, even though it is like fully lined. I whoopsied, but I don't care. I did what I could to fix mistakes. I'm going to try and fix the color. You'll see. I'm probably going to keep wearing it regardless. The unicorn dress. This one started life as a simple, just squares and squares and a drop waist, and I hated it. It did not fit. I love this fabric so much, I had to try and use it again. I kind of used the vest pattern for the bodice, slightly modified it, added some sleeves. Well, yeah, I had to cut out new sleeves. Kept the skirt and just sewed the skirt back on, which was a nightmare because it's all pleated, so it was a huge amount of fabric. And I French seamed the whole thing, so I had to sew this seam twice. Ugh, never again until the next time. And yeah, so this was another case of I made a mistake. But in this case, it was worth it to try and fix it. And boy, howdy, am I happy that I fixed it because this is so cute. Something I'm super proud of is, oh, and the unicorn dress, I reworked the same summer that I made it. So I made it in 2022, and then like 2 weeks later, I remade, well, no, because I got really frustrated with it. I threw it on the floor, and then I came back to it later. So maybe like a month later. It was still the summer of 2022, though. And also in the summer of 2022, I had found this Rainbow Bright bedsheet fabric. I don't know if this was my rainbow bright bedsheet fabric. I can't believe that I was the only person in my entire city who had these bed sheets, but I had these bed sheets. So there is a possibility that this was the bed sheet that I slept on as a child. And I don't know if that's the case, but I tell myself that because I love it. Anyway, so I made this wrapper with it. I love it. It's just a nice light layer that I can throw on if it's like a cooler morning. I just want to schlep around the house, but I don't want it to be obvious that I'm still in my pajamas. And just there's an extra layer, just kind of covers things up. Yeah, so I love that. Then there are the check pants and matching shirt. These were made back in early summer of 2023. And this was a whole big thing. I made the pants. So I had 2 separate bed sheets. I made a pair of pants, this shirt, and a pair of shorts. The shorts were another case of I didn't love them. So they got passed on to somebody else. Because within my closet, they weren't going to get seen. I didn't love them. I am beyond wearing clothes that I don't find comfortable anymore. Those days are long over. It's all about comfort and cuteness now. Oh, and then, okay, so pulling this back out, I also have these pants that I made. These were made back in 2022. Oh, these were made back in 2020 question mark. I think it was 2022. Might have been 2021. I don't remember. This was after I made the purple crop top. I made these pants, a skirt, shorts, and 2 shirts, and they were in the same style as the purple check. This was the first set that I made using the, I don't remember what the book's called. It's by Daisy Braid. The patterns that are basically just squares and rectangles, just basic shapes. This was the first set that I made, and I ended up hating it. Yeah, this was a case of, this was the mock-up, and I didn't end up liking. I liked how all the pieces turned out, so I learned what worked and what didn't for making other stuff, but the pieces themselves that I made, I didn't like them. Because I did make them out of cute fabric, again, sent on to someone else who would like to wear the shorts, the skirt, and the 2 shirts. I kept the pants though because I think they look quite cute with my rose shirt. And then we've got my Barbie Peaches and Cream dress. This is also kind of an example of it's okay to make mistakes. I have a whole video about the making process and the fix. Actually, this one has 2 videos. There's a video of the making and a video of the fixing. Because yeah, mistakes were made. Totally okay. And mistakes were fixed. I don't know that they were perfect. I mean, the top fits much better now. The skirt still has this weird, like, bell. Kind of weird looking. I really haven't worn this since I fixed it. It feels a little dressy for just wearing, you know, to go on the school run or get groceries or whatever, or sit around at home. So, I don't know. This might end up being another, it's okay to get rid of it. But I'm hesitant because Peaches and Cream Barbie was one of my favorites. And I really, really like this fabric. It does look so much like Peaches and Cream Barbie. I don't know. I made this one in fall of 2023. Altered it early this year. And still undecided. It's in the wardrobe, but it's not of the wardrobe yet. And then I have 2 new garments that I just made. Starting with this My Little Pony dress. Freaking love this one. This is already, I mean, I've only worn it a couple times, but this is already in rotation. Okay. So I guess one of the sewing policies I wanted to talk about, this dress kind of reminds me, is pockets. Pockets are kind of a big deal in the sewing community. And I love them, and I will put them on things, but it's not a deal breaker for me. I would prefer to have pockets, nice big roomy pockets in everything. But if I can just barely use them, that's okay. If I can't have them at all, that's okay. I couldn't figure out how to put pockets on this dress because the bottom, in order to get this really pretty pink chunk at the bottom, I cut the bed sheet in half and used the bottom half as the skirt and then the top half for the bodice. And in order to get this to be unbroken all the way around, it's just that whole length of fabric sewn into a tube up the one side. I could have put one pocket on the side that I sewed up, except that I kept the manufacturer hem and I couldn't figure out how to put a pocket that had a raw hem with this. And I didn't want to cut this because I didn't want to lose, I only had so much to go around me. I didn't want to lose any of that width. And this is the kind of fabric, it's a polyester, so it's not my first choice, but I mean, when it's that cute and colorful, how can you say no? Anyway, this is the kind of fabric that basically shreds. You look at it wrong and it just falls apart. The seams have to be encased. And I couldn't figure out how to do that on the side that I had. And again, I didn't want to open up because that would, in order to encase all those seams, that would considerably shrink the amount of circumference that I had to go around me. So yeah, it doesn't have pockets. Pockets would be ideal, but it's not a deal breaker for me. And the last thing I made is this little set. Oh yeah, I finished the pony dress a couple months ago. And this is the last thing I made. This little set, matching shorts and shirt. This is really awesome. I can't wait to wear this. So cute. I can't believe I'm excited about pink. I used to hate pink. It was shoved down my throat, that's why. But anyway. So that's basically my summer wardrobe. Right there, I have more than enough me-made clothes that I could wear me-made all summer. I love it. Okay, that was definitely a serotonin boost. Yeah, I feel good now. Okay. Totally worth it.
The last thing I wanted to mention is patterns. If you struggle to make things using commercial patterns, don't stress. Commercial patterns generally suck. I hate them. There's like one, the vest pattern that I've used like 4 times now. That one I love and I will continue to use it. And if you happen to find a commercial pattern that, fits the first time you make it and you enjoy making it, run with it. Use it to your heart's content. If you do not have any issues with commercial patterns and you can just pull them out and they fit first time and you don't have to do mental gymnastics to get them to work, that's awesome. Good for you. Keep it up. If you need to always alter commercial patterns to get to fit your body, the struggle is real. It's okay. There are other options though. You can also self-draft. You can drape. If you don't know what those are, Google. Look on YouTube. There's lots of tutorials and lots of information. There's also really simple patterns that are basically just squares and rectangles. You can use other things to trace around. Like these shorts that I'm making here, I just used a pair of shorts that fit me and that I like, that are a similar, like if you're using a non-stretch fabric, don't use a stretch fabric short and vice versa. That can mess up. But I just used a pair of shorts, traced them out. There's my pattern. The shirt that goes with it is basically just a poncho. So like 2 rectangles sewn together with an opening for the head cut out, the sides sewn up minus a spot for my arms to go through. That's basically it. It's like a poncho with the sides sewed up. And it's a perfectly serviceable shirt. So yeah, commercial patterns are great and they can be a good starting off point, but there are lots of other tutorials and patterns and different ways of making stuff. So I highly encourage you to explore all the options and have the fun. And at the end of the day, remember that sewing rules aren't rules. They're guidelines. Have fun with it. Thank you for watching. That's all for this time. I'll see you in my next video.